It's the latest coronavirus controversy. Should we all be wearing one of these? Since the start of the outbreak, government scientists have advised against it. Some researchers say they should be normal in all sorts of venues.
Anywhere where there's a lot of people gathered together in a small space. So the obvious example is a tube train or a bus. If people are going back to the workplace, certainly you should be wearing one then. Supermarkets are another example. So we're trying to avoid going into spaces where there's a lot of people. But if we can't avoid it, we should certainly be wearing a face covering.
The government says it's following the science, and it's not clear a face covering will prevent a wearer getting the disease. The Mayor of London says that's not the right way to think about it.
What it does do is stop you passing on the virus if you're pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic. And what we need to do is reduce the passing of the virus. And that's why I'm lobbying the government's experts to change their advice and the government to change their guidance.
In London today, there were plenty of masks on show, although still only for a minority. This question is less about science and more about probability. Because even if the science says the effectiveness of masks is quite small, in a big city, in a situation like this, it can still make, overall, a very big difference. The huge element of uncertainty is us. Will we wear masks properly? Or, as some fear, get a false sense of security about social distancing?
We need people to understand that this isn't the absolute measure. We need to also continue with our social distancing, and we also need to continue with our regular timetabled hand washing. So just because you wear a mask doesn't mean now all is well.
Masks should only be used by healthcare workers, caretakers, or by people who are sick with symptoms of fever and cough.
The World Health Organization doesn't recommend facial coverings for anyone without symptoms, although it is looking at the situation. So is the UK government. While the end of the lockdown will bring freedom, it may well come with other restrictions, not least what we wear to go out. Roland Manthorpe, Sky News.